Hey guys, it's Garrett from Blacklisted Yu-Gi-Oh! And today I'm going to bring you a set overview on the Millenium Pack. So this set is a more of a nostalgic set from the original Yu-Gi-Oh! TV show, and it includes cards from Yugi, Merrick, Joey, Skye, and many others from that show. And so I'm going to start by going over some of the newer cards, or some of the new cards in the set and their effects, and then I'll give my opinion on some of them later. Alright, to start off, we have the Winged Dragon of Ra, Immortal Phoenix. This card is a level 10 Divine, obviously, monster with 4,000 attack, 4,000 defense, and its effect is it cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned by its own effect, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. If the Winged Dragon of Ra is sent from the field to the graveyard, while this card is in your graveyard, special summon this card. Cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this effect activation. This card is unaffected by other card effects. You can pay 1,000 life points, send one monster on the field to the graveyard. Once per turn during the end phase, send this card to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon the Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere mode from your hand, deck, or graveyard, ignoring its summoning condition. Next up is Curse of Dragonfire. Curse of Dragonfire is a level 5 Dragon Dark, and its effect with 2,000 attack and 1,500 defense. And its effect is if this card is normal summon or special summon, you can target one field spell card on the field and destroy it. Once per turn, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters you control as fusion monster or fusion materials, including this card. This card is not too good. It could be used in a few fusion decks, but if you're playing a Gaia, you're probably going to run this card, but it'd be better if it was a level 4 or lower, because having to sacrifice or do other stuff to bring it out is just not good enough for its mediocre effect. Next up is the Holding Arms. Holding Arms is a level 4 Dark Fiend type with 500 attack and 1,200 defense. And its effect is if this card is normal summoned or special summoned, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. While this card is face-up on the field, that face-up monster cannot attack. Also, its effects are negated. While that face-up monster is on the field, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Next up is Holding Legs, which is also a level 4 Dark Fiend with 800 attack and 600 defense. And its effect is if this card is summoned, return all set spell and trap cards on the field to the hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard and then target one set spell or trap card your opponent controls. That set card cannot be activated until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then next up we have Skye Galloping Gaia, the Dragon Champion. It is a level 7 wind, 2,600 attack, 2,100 defense, and its effect is and it requires Gaia the Fierce Knight monster plus 1 dragon type. And this card's effect is this card's name becomes Gaia the Dragon Champion while it is on the field. If this card is special summoned, you can add one Spiral Spear Strike from your deck or graveyard to your hand. When this card declares an attack on an opponent's monster, you can change the battle position of that opponent's monster. Next up is Rebellion. Rebellion is a quick play spell, and its effect is during either player's battle phase, target one monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end of the battle phase. Also, other monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of this turn. You can only activate one Rebellion per turn. So this card, it is not too good because it's only during the battle phase, so can't really use it to steal for an XC or a synchro. And all your other monsters can attack, so it's only really good if your opponent has like a big monster on the field and you have essentially nothing, and you can attack into them for either game or something like that. But I don't see it being used too much in the meta, but you never know. So next up is Card of Demise. Card of Demise is a normal spell card, and its effect is draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. Also, for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, your opponent takes no damage. During the end phase of this turn, send your entire hand to the graveyard. You can only activate one Card of Demise per turn. you can not special summon during the turn you activate this card. This card is a very interesting card. That +3 is a or +2, my bad, is a really powerful effect, but it kind of gets balanced out by all of the other kind of barriers it has with you not being able to special summon and your cards being sent to the graveyard and your opponent not taking damage. So I think that balances it out. Next up we have Left Arm Offering. It is a normal spell, and its effect is if you have 2 or more other cards in your hand, banish your entire hand and add 1 spell card from your deck to your hand. You cannot set spell or trap cards in the turn you activate this card. I don't think it's that great. I mean, you can search out a Regeki, but you have to go -2 to get it, so I don't see it ever being used, but who knows. So next up we have the True Name. It is a normal spell card as well, and its effect is declare 1 card name, activate the top card of your deck, and if it is a declared card, add it to your hand. Then you can add it to your hand or special summon 1 divine monster from your deck. Otherwise, send it to the graveyard. You can only activate 1 the True Name per turn. Next up is Symbol of Friendship. It is a normal spell card, and to activate this card, its effect is to activate this card, you must draw it for your normal draw in your draw phase, while your opponent controls 3 or more monsters and you control no monsters. Reveal it and keep it revealed until the main phase 1. During your main phase 1, that same turn you can activate this card from your hand and reveal 1 card from the deck and add it to your hand. This card has just way too many conditions to ever be used. I mean, there's much better cards out there, like Rhoda. Yeah, it's only for warriors, but still, it's much better. Next up, we have Trap Hole of Spikes. It is a normal trap card. When its effect is when opponent's monster that was normal or special summon this turn declares an attack, destroy that attacking monster, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the original attack of that monster. This is a pretty decent card. I'll talk more on it in a bit. So, next up I'm going to go over some of the better or more money cards in the set, starting with the Winged Dragon Raw Phoenix Mode. This card can be extremely powerful in a deck that uses the Winged Dragon, and just foolish this card to the Phoenix Mode to the grave, and bring out Ra. When it dies, bring out the Phoenix, and then when that dies, you can bring out a Ra Sphere Mode, which will give you a lot of potential ability to deal out damage as well as defense for your next turn or your next time to bring out the Ra. I can see this card being $10 or more. A lot of these cards are going to be low and but hold their value, probably because they're nostalgic, but they could fluctuate around. Next up is the holding cards. These cards are decent little cards that could be used, although I don't see them being a staple in the meta anytime soon. Holding arms allows you to essentially Phoenix Chain a monster and protect yourself for as long as the other monster stays on the field, which is pretty good because if your monster or your opponent brings out a big monster that they can't get rid of, you protect yourself for a long time. And then next up, while Holding Legs is more of an OTK card, it's a giant True Nade essentially, which is banned for a reason. If your opponent is relying on the back row for protection and you're ready to push for game, this card really opens up your opponent, and that can be very powerful. But since you have to waste your normal summon, that kind of brings it down, but it's still very good. Plus the second effect could potentially ensure you games. I see those at maybe $5 a piece, maybe more, because they're super rares in this set. Next up is Skye Galloping Gaia, the Dragon Champion. This card is alright on its own, but it allows you to add Spiral Spear Strike, which is a pretty good card. And the position changing ability is alright, because some boss monsters nowadays don't really have a lot of defense because they stack up on the attack. So I guess it could be okay, but I could see it being like $4 or $5, not much more. Next up is a Card of Demise. I can see this card in Amazing. In some decks, I saw pretty amazing Yosenju's build with it, because they can put their cards on the field, and then you can resolve this effect before you add the Yosenjus back to your card, or to your hand, I mean. So like, it's pretty amazing that way, in that deck, but, I mean, Yosenjus isn't very relevant anymore, or was ever relevant, so. Next up, I can see the Card of Demise being at $5 to $10. Next up is the True Name. This card is pretty amazing. Not only is it a searcher, but it also allows you to summon a god card essentially for free, and it is amazing in decks that top deck stuff, or that want to bring out the god cards. But a good card that can combo with this is King Blackjack, or the card from Premium Gold 2. It allows you to search or look at your top 3 cards of your deck and arrange them, I believe. But yeah, so it could also be used with the original Big Eye, which allows you to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and then rearrange them. But it's not very used at all in today's meta. So yeah, that card is pretty cool. You can bring out god cards easily, and next I can see that card at $5 easily. And then next up, Trap Hole of Spikes. This card is pretty decent, but is paired with Afflasia, it could be pretty cool. And so I can see that one at $5, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And then another reprint in this set that was one of the only decent reprints was Dark Paladin. This card hasn't been reprinted for I don't know how long, but it needed a reprint, and with all the new Dark Magician support coming out, I mean, it might be used, so it could be a few bucks, but it's still a good nostalgic card. So you're probably all wondering, is this set worth a buy? No, it's not. It does. I don't see it having a whole lot of huge money dollar cards or even really good useful cards in it. So it's more for nostalgia, but that's about it. So that's it. Thanks guys, see you next time.